The announcement yesterday by Sheriff Paul Penzone to step down surprised a lot of people, including myself. He is stepping down in January, not running for re-election. In part of the statement that was made by the sheriff's office, he talked about, or in the statement it talked about, the consent decree that Maricopa County has entered into with the DOJ with court oversight. The monitor is a guy named Robert Warshaw. The federal judge overseeing the case is someone named Murray Snow. They were appointed him to this post in 2014, so we're talking about 10 years of this appointment. It's ongoing and it never ends, and we got to talk a little bit about what this means because the city of Phoenix is facing the same thing. The Department of Justice was allowed into the Phoenix Police Department to do an investigation. They are left blind, so to speak. But I have some questions about this, and I'm going to get to some of the results of a survey in a minute and what this means. But first, what's happened in Maricopa County. It's cost millions of dollars. They haven't been in Phoenix. The monitors themselves have not been in Phoenix since 2020. Yet, we have spent thousands of dollars. It looks like $97,000 the taxpayers are paying for office space, even though they haven't been here since 2020. But we're paying for office space for the monitors. The taxpayers are to the tune of $97,000. I have an invoice for the month of July that was submitted in August by Warshaw and Associates for $212,000 in oversight in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. When does it end? I mean, this is part of the question. Now, I am someone that believes in oversight. I believe in accountability. I truly do. Even though I am pro-law enforcement, I believe that the reason why I'm pro-law enforcement is not just because of the job they do, but the way that they do it. So here, I have a question. If the city of Phoenix were to enter into one of these consent decrees, you have brought in a police chief in Michael Sullivan. I've met with the chief a number of times. He seems like he is on the ball. The crime reduction plan, the use of force changes that they have made, the other things that he is implementing in the city of Phoenix, this is what he was brought in for. He was brought in for because he's dealt with the Department of Justice before at other agencies. He has made changes that have been positive changes in an agency. So the city of Phoenix went out and did a nationwide search to hire someone to be the chief of police. And of all the homework I've done, it seems to me like Chief Sullivan is forthright. He comes in the studio here. He talks to me. He talks to other members of the media on a regular basis. He is held accountable to the actions of his department. If the city of Phoenix now enters a consent decree that says, we believe that we need outside oversight of this agency, aren't you cutting the legs out from under the chief you hired? Aren't you saying that you hired somebody that you believed could lead this agency through this DOJ investigation, and aren't you now saying that he needs oversight on top of the officers in his command? I mean, this is you brought a guy in that seems to be doing exactly what needs to be done. Now, I will say this. I think that the Phoenix Police Department has been and continues to be an elite agency in the entire country. I think they do a phenomenal job, dramatically understaffed, and they do an excellent job. That's my personal opinion. But they brought in the city of Phoenix, the city manager's office, the attorneys in the city manager's office, the city council did a nationwide search for a police chief. They brought in someone that's an expert, seems to be doing the job very well, making changes. If you enter into one of these consent decrees, are you saying that you believe this chief can't do it, that you have to have federal oversight, you have to have an independent monitor with a federal court overseeing it, and based on what we're seeing in Maricopa County, it never ends? This is over 10 years this has been going on. $97,000 in rental property that should be going in Maricopa County into the sheriff's office budget. $210,000 or $12,000 bill just in the month of July. And this has been going on forever. Why would a monitor have any reason to go to a federal judge and say, you know what, this agency's doing a fine job? If they're making millions of dollars a year and they're not even coming to town, why would they end it? I mean, why would you turn off that faucet? Now let's talk a little bit about a survey. The Phoenix Police Department did an internal survey, and I believe this was the survey on the DOJ. How likely are you to retire or resign if a consent decree is implemented in the city of Phoenix? 42% of Phoenix police officers, 42%, said that they will definitely or will strongly consider leaving the agency if they enter into this decree. How would this implementation of this affect your decision to use force? One of them is one of the biggest of this, the highest in this, 32.5% said I would avoid using force. And others said I would not at any cost use force because they were afraid of what would happen. Do you believe that the Phoenix Police Department engages in a pattern of practice of discriminatory, unconstitutional policing? Almost 90% or 84% say I strongly disagree with that. These are cops. In your opinion, what should the city of Phoenix and Phoenix PD's response to the DOJ presumed intention of implement a consent decree at the conclusion of this investigation? The city should not. 98% of Phoenix police officers, anybody out there, even if you think there's systemic problems within a police agency, you don't believe 98% of Phoenix cops are bad cops. 98% of the police department say this is going to have an adverse effect. We can see, and as a Phoenician, we can look at what's happened in Maricopa County. Maricopa County agreed to this, and it's been over 10 years, millions of dollars a year, $97,000 in office space. They haven't been here in 3 years. Why? And once you enter into this agreement, once you do this, you can't back out. The monitor and the judge decide when you're in compliance and when the money spigot gets turned off. If you're a Phoenician, I'd be talking to your city council members and I'd be telling them that we are doing a better job of policing ourselves, and Chief Sullivan seems to be doing the job. Why not back him and let him fix things without a federal oversight? Just a question. Just a question.